All right, so this video is going to address what I spoke about at the Galloway meeting last week, which is Salesforce's ability to track your first year commissions and your points. And this is done through a feature in Salesforce called production data. So to give you an idea of what production data is and where it comes from, I'm going to refresh you on the life cycle of a record inside Salesforce. So when you first meet somebody, you're going to put them in as an account. And when you sell them something, you're going to put that in as an opportunity. And once you close that opportunity as one, it's going to create an application. The application goes to Allie. She controls it. It lives, dies, and if it lives and sees the light of day, it becomes a contract. And the contract is that permanent object that represents a piece of business that got placed. So when you go to an opportunity and you fill out all the information and you close the opportunity as one, what you've done in addition to creating an automatic application is you've automatically created a production data record. And now that we have this ready to fly, I have this link down here for you. Whenever you're looking at an account, I have this production data link for you to look at. When you're looking at your production data records, this is where your points and your commissions details are going to be. So in the interest of HIPAA, we have Mr. Disney helping us out again. And what I did was I had 3 closed opportunities with him. And the 3 closed opportunities are a MedSup, a PDP, and a life insurance case. Those 3 opportunities created 3 applications as well, as they always do. And we also have 3 production data records. And these production data records are all separate from one another. So to begin going into production data and what it can do for you and how to use it, I'm going to first take you on a tour of what a production data record looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this first one here, this Aetna record here. So this is a production data record, and to take you through the fields, it's actually pretty simple. We start off with the date and time the record was created, what account, who owns it. The policy number will eventually get filled in once it gets approved. It's a MedSup. This carries over from the opportunity. Mode carries over from the opportunity, as does the premium. Notice this says proposed because we are just really making a proposal. Sometimes like bankers might come back with a substandard, or if it's a life insurance one, it could come back table 4, whatever. The annual premium is automatically calculated based on these 2 fields here. And your total commission is automatically calculated. There's this massive grid working in the background that we took. We took the commission directory and put in all the necessary values so that Salesforce is capable of automatically calculating your first year commissions based off of the premium and the mode that you put in. This commission difference I'll get back to. In the next column, the application name, and these 4 fields carry over from the opportunity. What state, what carrier, what product, and what commission bracket. And this is what tells the system how much you should be getting paid for this particular piece of business. These 4 fields down here are kind of tied in. This approved as applied basically is a quick little check mark that says, I submitted an app, I submitted it at 164.28, and that's exactly how it was approved. So you come in here and you put this little check mark in, and a whole bunch of other things automatically happen. Sometimes, though, we put an application in, say for life insurance, and we put it in for $45, but it comes back and it's actually $70-some because they got table rated. So in that case, you would not choose approve as applied. You would put in your modal premium, and then these premiums here, this annual and this total commission would automatically calculate based on what you put in here. So we'll do an example of that in a minute. This is a chargeback section, if any, if it was charged back, yes or no, and when it was. This is your points section. So double points, I just named it double points because I didn't know what to name it. So we know it's double, sometimes triple. This field will let you do anything up to quadruple, but I just called it double points anyway. So if you set this to double points, it'll automatically double the points. Now, things that are already doubled, like life insurance and cancer plans, those are automatically calculated as double for you, so you don't have to do this to make that happen. This is if there's double points on a certain type of business or a month or a week or whatever. Down here for commissions, we have the advance that's available. The advance calculates based on the formula that we have in the system here. There are 2 little Notes about advances. Number one, advances for MAPDs calculate at $100. Now, I know during the AEP we're allowed to take a $100 advance, but throughout the rest of the year that might change. But I just have it as $100 just all the way through because I don't have a way to tell the system, okay, do it this way during AEP and this way not. The second thing is from my memory and understanding, if you're a life millionaire, the sky's the limit on advances. But if you're not a life millionaire, you're not allowed to take more than a $500 advance on any case. So the system doesn't know that. The system doesn't have a way of understanding it. So the system might come and tell you that you have a $622 advance available, but internally you're only allowed to take 500 of it. So you're going to have to try and keep that rule in mind. Okay, my daughter's homework is due. This little spot allows you to keep track of what advance you took. So if you want to track, I asked for this advance and this is what I got, you can. I think it's just as easy to reconcile that statement that Alex sends us every Thursday, but whatever you want to do. I left it here if you want to use it. And then down here is a paid section. So you're looking for this commission, $295.70, and this right here talks about what you got paid. And as you get paid, this commission balance field will update. And this is a production data record. Down here is just system info. So the production data record basically is the same no matter what you write. Every type of business, every carrier, everything is all the same. So what I'll show you how to do is to interact with this. So let's say that we submit this application to Aetna for Plan G. It's approved as applied. So as with any field, to edit the field, we simply hit the pencil at the end, and then we say El Checo, and then we save. And once we save, a couple of things happens. This is checked. This gets filled in automatically with the value that's over here, $164.28. The annual premium is automatically calculated, and the total commission is carried over. So now that there's a value here, now the system knows this is what we should be getting for this case. So if we come down here to the commission section, we have that we were paid, and let's pretend that it's a couple months from now and we get our commission. So let's just say that Aetna paid us properly. You know what, let's play around. Let's say that Aetna paid us $290 even. Obviously we know that's not correct. So we're going to hit save, and weird. You guys weren't supposed to see that, right? Ooh, that's bad. Okay, not sure what that error was. It's the first time I've seen it. So we get our commission statement from Mike, and we see that Aetna paid us $290 for this case. Now we have a commission balance of $5.70. It'll automatically calculate for us. So if we were expecting $295.70, but you put this in here, it'll automatically let you know, hey, you're short. Now this is going to work very well for supplements. It'll work really, really well for PDPs. It'll work well for MAPDs, anything first year commission like that. Where it's going to get a little hairy is some of the life insurance products, because every life insurance carrier has a different way of advancing money. Some of them will advance you 6 months, and then they'll pay you 1/12 of your commission in month 7, and then month 8, and then month 9, and so on and so forth. So each time you get your statement, you're going to have to keep adding that in here. So you'll have an amount in here, and then that amount will grow, and you'll have to kind of manually do the math and put it in there. It's kind of a pain, but it's the only thing we've got in this particular case for life insurance. Other carriers will advance you 9 months, and then they'll pay you 10, 11, 12. So because the life carriers do things in a little weird fashion, this was the best system we could come up with, because this covers a majority of your business. It covers MedSup, it covers MA, and it covers PDP, and the cancer plans typically advance the same way. Life insurance is the only thing that's really kind of nasty, and annuities are good for this too. So this is simple. You're expecting X amount of money. I got this amount of money. I'm short, or whatever's happening. So that's the major concept in this. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to reset these fields to show you how things work. Holy cow. Yeah, this isn't cooperating. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I think this is doing this because I was messing with this record before, and before I started the recording, and it kind of yelled at me. Okay. I'm not going to bang my head against the wall. I'm going to move to another production data record to show you this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to accounts, and we are going to look at Mr. Disney. And in Mr. Disney's case, we are going to come down to the production data record for this mutual living promise level. All right. So in this living promise level, in this particular product, there's no table. It's either you're in or you're out. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's pretend that this situation exists where we applied its standard, but they came back with a slightly higher rate. So notice that in this production record, I have a monthly premium of $78.54. There's my annual premium. There's my total commission. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to enter this. And I'm not going to do approved as applied because we're going to pretend that this was approved at a higher rate. So we're going to say 87.23. And then we're going to save. So when we save at 87.23, notice that the actual annual commission gets calculated higher than the proposed, and the commission goes up as well. So now, what we were originally expecting for commission, 518.36, is now different. It's 575, and this is the difference here. And the reason why this field here is so handy is because when you first send these things in on transmittal, if you transmit at 78.54, you're going to be transmitting 1884 points. That's the points that you're going to originally get for this. But if it gets approved for a higher amount, you should be submitting a transmittal for the difference. So this difference allows you to have something to work with when you're sending in another transmittal for the upgraded points. So that's how that would work if you had something that came back approved other than how you applied for it. So now we know that our total commission is going to be $575.72. So let's go in here and let's pretend that we were paid $500, just $500 even, 500 bucks. And now that we've been paid $500, it tells us that the commission balance is $75.72 because once again, it's going off of this number over here. So this calculation down here is not going to work unless you come into the production record and comment on whether or not this thing saw the light of day and whether or not it was approved as applied or you got approved at an updated, upgraded rate. And once you provide that information, then a couple months later when you get your payment for this, or your first payment if it's a life insurance case, then you can fill this info here and this will help you keep track of whatever money's left over for you to capture. And that's pretty much the story there. And the last thing I think I need to go into here is the whole points thing. So if we want to do another points system, if we want to do double points, for example, we say double, notice that it's at 1884, but if I say double, it takes this number and it doubles it for us. The only difficulty I have here is sometimes Master Blumetti is kind enough to do a double points week or a triple points week, or as we are right now in January in a double points month. Unfortunately, I don't have a way of making the system say, if it was submitted in January, make it double or make it triple, or if it was this week, make it double, or if it's a cancer plan, make it triple, whatever. So unfortunately, during a double points month, you're going to have to come into each production record that you submit during that month and change this to double. And once again, the doubling of cancer and life and other stuff that's always doubled is already done. So this would only be if there's some kind of a special promotion going on for the month, for the week, or for a particular type of business. And that's it for a production record. So let's do this here. So we're going to take our points back down to single just to make the math easier on the next thing that I have to show you. So we have 1884 points here, and I know it does the point 96, just round it up. Not much I can do there. So let's go to another production record here. Actually, let's go back to the first production record for the Aetna policy and just make sure that things look pretty here. And they do. We have our points, 1971. All right, let's take a look at the last production record for the PDP. Not going to be a whole lot of mystery there because they're pretty straight. There's no points, whatever. So here's the PDP, 1190, the premium, the total commission. The actual is filled in because I was messing with this earlier, so I apologize for that. That shouldn't be filled in automatically. Obviously, we're not getting points for PDPs yet, but enough of us bug James, maybe we'll eventually get it. So that's what we have. And in this case, I messed around with my own production to make it so that the only 3 cases that I've sold in Salesforce are these 3 cases for the week. And a week in Salesforce is from 4:01 the previous Friday to 4 o'clock this Friday, just the way the office does it. So if you have an app that hits the office by 4 o'clock Friday, it counts for this week. At 4:01, it counts for the next week. So once you're done with production records, or once you've messed with them for the week, you basically are going to come in and do a report. And when you do your reports, you're going to be looking for one particular report. I'm going to click on reports here. And the report you're going to be looking for is the weekly production report. Now, you're going to find this report in the Field Agent Reports folder. It's in this list for me because I've been looking at it recently. So when you go to look for it, you're going to come over here to the left. You're going to click on All Folders. Under All Folders, you'll see Field Agent Reports. And in Field Agent Reports, you'll see this weekly production report. So once you get this weekly production report, what you're going to want to do, the first thing you're going to want to do, as with any report, is you're going to want to come and hit this little list arrow, this down arrow here, and hit Save As. And when you hit Save As, you can name it whatever you want, and it'll be stored in your private reports. And then you can mess with this all you want, and you're not going to mess with anyone else. And then when they mess with it, you don't see their changes. So make your own version of this weekly production report. So in this report here, there's nothing showing because things aren't set up properly. And this is kind of my first foray into demonstrating reports to you. So when you have a report, there's 2 things that you can do when you're creating a report. You can say, these are the fields I want to see, and then you can say, these are the records I want to see, and you do so by filtering. So you might say, show me everything so long as it's life insurance, or show me everything so long as it was written during these dates, or whatever. So I'm going to show you the engine room on this report. We're going to hit Edit. And this is the report builder view. This is the preview area. It shows you what things would look like if it had some data. Right now, it's got no records to show me. Here is the list of fields that are in this particular report. You're probably not going to want to mess with these. And then the filters. This is where you're going to go all the time. Every week when you run this report, you're going to have to hit Edit and come into these filters. And here's why. I'm going to click on Filters. So the filters are going to show my production data, so it's going to be just your stuff. It's going to be showing the business logic all time. I don't want to go too far into business logic, but I explained to the guys how our business goes, the whole 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock thing, so that's what that's about. And then finally, the last filter is the week ending date. And the week ending dates all end on Fridays. So this was set to December 28th. So I didn't have anything happening that week, so there's nothing here. So what I'll do is I'll come in here, and I'm going to modify this date. I'm just going to do it with the calendar. So I'm going to say week ending this week, so January 25th. So January 25th, 2019, I hit Apply, and you can see in the preview area, Walt's stuff is showing up. So what I'm going to say is save and run. You can say save, you can say close, you can say run, but you want to say save and run usually. That saves it, and then it runs the report. And here's your report. So it shows your cases, the person that they're written for, the carrier, the product, the mode, very much like one of the old school transmittals. The modal premium, the annual proposed premium, the points, which it totals it up at the bottom, and the advances that are available. So if you do your production data records and then you come and run this report, all you have to do is look at this number for your points and look at this number for what your advances should be for the week. And then it kind of summarizes it all up at the top here. The only thing that might change with this report, and I'm kind of asking these guys, we're a little behind the eight ball, I should have thought of this earlier, is if you go into these records and you say, I want these to be double points, which you do, because you want to keep track of where you are for Millionaire, double points is what's going to show here. So this number would be double that. But of course, we know every week that's not the number that goes up on the board. You want this number. So I'm going to see if I can get them to add another column that talks about weekly points and then annual points or Millionaire points or whatever. So that's just even less math for you to have to do. So once again, to work with this weekly production report, all you have to do is go into reports. You're going to go to all folders initially, then to field agent reports, and then it'll be the weekly production report. But once you access it once or twice, it'll be up here in the most recent reports that you've messed with. So weekly production report, as I said, save it, make it your own. But every week when you want this report to update, you'll have to constantly change the date, and you do so by going to Edit, then coming over here to Filters, and then changing this week ending date to whatever the week ending is for that particular week. And that's pretty much it. So now that we have this, your points calculation is automatic. Your first year commission tracking is a little easier to do. I'm going to be working next on the easiest way possible so that when we get our renewal statements for Mike, to go down that statement, if this is what you do, to go down that statement line by line and enter your commissions into that system as easily as possible. So bear with me, that's kind of a work in progress there. But at least this way, you know that you have the data there and you can rely on it to keep you on track with Millionaire, with your monthly and weekly production, any contest that you're running, any money that's coming to you because of volume, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of options here. So I really hope this works out for everybody, because the developers worked pretty hard on this, and I did a lot of testing, and it's about 12:44 at night, and I'm recording this, so I hope this is informative for you guys. So that's it, and have a great night.